Good day, viewers and my students at home. You're welcome again to the online teaching from Biology Department. My name is Mrs. Helen Uyanne from Biology Department, and today's topic is disease in biology. You can remember in the previous lessons when we treated pests and diseases, we just dealt with pests mostly, and the pests are enemies to farmers. So we base on the pests of farm crops. So today I'm going to look at, or we're going to take the diseases caused by pests to humans. Now, before we go on to the lesson, we have to have a look at the specific objectives. That's what you expected to know after the lesson. By the end of the lesson, you, my students, will be able to define disease. Number 2, list signs and symptoms of malaria. 3, list curative and control measures of mosquitoes and malaria. Then number 4, list and explain any 5 general control of diseases. Now we go on to the lesson. What is disease? What is disease? So many of us understand disease in various ways. Maybe when you touch any dirty environment, you say you're touching disease. But the proper definition of disease is an abnormal condition in health of an organism. An abnormal condition in health of an organism. That organism can be man, it can be livestock. So when you are no longer feeling the way you used to be, that means the condition is abnormal, it's no longer normal. So when the abnormal condition takes place, that is when it is referred to as diseased condition. Now these disease conditions are caused by vectors, which we used to call pests, and these pests are animals that carry and they spread microorganisms. And what are these microorganisms? These microorganisms are called pathogens. They are the causative organisms of what? Diseases. They are the causative organisms of what? Of the diseases we are talking about. And they themselves are not affected by the disease. We have examples of vectors like houseflies, cockroaches, mosquito, sassafly, fleas, rats, dogs, cats, bats, all, etc. Now, the pathogens develop and multiplies in the body of the vector before being transferred to a healthy person. Meaning that the vectors are carriers of what? Pathogens. Now, from the table on the screen now, you can see the section of vector, you can see the pathogen they carry, then you can see the disease the pathogens cause. We have first one, this is just few out of many according to the scheme of work. Sassafly, the pathogen is trypanosome, and the sassafly, the trypanosome causes a disease condition known as sleeping sickness. Now we have female Anopheles mosquito. The female Anopheles mosquito carries the pathogen is Plasmodium. This Plasmodium, we have about 4 different kinds of Plasmodium. It can be Plasmodium vivax, can be Plasmodium falciparum, it can be Plasmodium ovale, or Plasmodium malariae. Then the disease they cause is malaria. That is why when you go to pharmacy and you buy any malaria drug, when you look at the leaflets, you can see the indication that this drug is effective against Plasmodium falciparum and so on and so forth. If you have never been, or if you have not been noticing that, you go from now onwards, when you buy any malaria drug, you just have a look at the pamphlet and know the Plasmodium that is it is indicated that the medicine work against. Now the next vector is a housefly. The pathogen for housefly is Vibrio cholerae. Vibrio cholerae because it brings about the disease known as cholera and typhoid. Then we have dog. Dog, the pathogen is rabies virus, which causes what? A disease known as rabies. Right on the screen is diagram of female Anopheles mosquito. By the left hand side is the mosquito. That's the one the pointer is on now. The mosquito, female Anopheles mosquito. You can see the stylet, the mouth is using sucking blood. You can see the long legs. You can see the wings, very flimsy, and very tiny insect. And right at the right hand of the diagram is a plasmodium. This plasmodium is microscopic. That's why it is microorganism. What do I mean by microscopic? You cannot just see it with your naked eyes. But you can see mosquito with your naked eyes. But the plasmodium you cannot see with your naked eyes except with high-powered microscope. Then this plasmodium lives in the saliva and intestine of this mosquito. And that is why as mosquito is biting you, it will first of all inject its saliva. And the essence of injecting the saliva is to prevent your blood from clotting. Then as it is injecting the saliva, it will now inject lots of this plasmodium into your blood system. And now it will now begin to suck up blood. Now after sucking the blood, it will leave the person with that plasmodium. Now we have symptoms of malaria. So because you now have the plasmodium right inside your blood system, you now begin to have symptoms of malaria. And that symptoms of malaria lead to the sickness itself, which is malaria. And the symptoms include, we have high fever, the person will begin to have temperature. We have the next one, lots of appetite. You have the next one, pains, you begin to have pains at the joints. Then the person will no longer look bright enough. You start looking pale. You will not be bright in whatever you're doing, indicating that you are now having somehow disease in you. Then the headache will start and you begin to have a lot of headache. Then you now start having rigor or shivering. Even in the afternoon, maybe others may be sweating, but you be feeling cold and you begin to shiver. And you now start looking for what? Cardigan or whatever to cover yourself and heat your body up. Then you begin to have stomach cramps or stomach ache. The next thing is dizziness. You begin to feel dizzy. As you're walking, you may be walking like somebody that is drunk. You be missing your steps. Then we have the next symptoms, which is vomiting. You won't have appetite to eat anything. Now, even if you force yourself to eat anything, you might vomit. Then the next one is weakness or tiredness. And when you look at all this, you see that malaria has almost the same symptoms with what we have now in which is COVID-19. Now, control of this mosquito and the malaria. Since mosquito bring about malaria through plasmodium, how do we control the mosquito and the malaria itself? Meaning that control and the curative aspect of it. We have the first point there. Treating the patient with what? Curative drugs. We have so many curative drugs. The drugs that cure that malaria proper. You have something like, okay, let me not advertise any drug, but you have so many of them. Now we have the next point. You have to start sleeping under the net. What do I mean by net? Mosquito nets. You sleep under mosquito nets so that you don't allow mosquito to come in contact with your body, talk like sucking blood or injecting plasmodium into your blood stream. Now we have the third one, screening or wire netting the houses. So many of us have nets in our windows and doors. It's all about checking malaria and checking mosquito bites. Now we have the next one, use of insecticides or burning of mosquito coils. We have so many insecticides. It can be super rich, it can be shelters, and so on and so forth. I'm not advertising anyone. Now we have the next point, draining stagnant water around your house. You don't have to allow any stagnant water. What do I mean by stagnant water? You have waters in the cans, as it is rainy season now. You have drums around your house, and you have some water there. When you look inside the drum, you see that mosquito lay eggs there, and the eggs now develop into larva. The larva of mosquito is what we call the nje in Igbo. You see them swimming right inside that water, and after the larva, from larva it forms the pupa. From the pupa, it now forms the mosquito proper. From there, it now flies into the house and begins to bite everybody, causing malaria. So by draining every water, even if you have to leave your drum of water, probably you have to suffocate the larva there by using what? Oil, or by using what? Biological method. I'm coming to that too. We have the next one, which is burying or recycling of empty cans. You don't have to leave empty cans. Used cans, which are no longer of use, you leave them and they will collect water. You simply discard them before they will now act as what? Means of breeding place for mosquitoes. Now, the next one is burning of herbs like lemongrass. You have to burn some herbs. They discard them. They hate the scent or the odor of some of these grasses. The next one is spraying stagnant water with oil. That's what I said about the water in your can. If you cannot discard the water that they are of use to you, you can spray what? Oil on them, and they will suffocate the eggs and the larva of mosquito right inside them, developing right inside the drums. Then we have the next point, spraying stagnant water. Okay, that's repetition. I'm repeating what I've said before. Spraying stagnant water with oil. The next one is clearing of bushes around the houses. You don't have to leave bushes around your house. It acts as a breeding space for these for mosquito, and not only mosquito, for other pests and vectors. Next one, use of predators. You can use predators like introducing fishes or tadpoles inside your drum of water, and they will eat up what? The mosquito larva. Once they are eating, they are no longer there to metamorphosize into adult mosquito to come into the houses and start biting people. Now the very last one is educating or enlightenment. Enlighten the public on control of what? Mosquito and malaria. There must be a public enlightenment, making the masses to know the side effect of exposing your body to mosquito. Thank you very much. Now we have to go over to the next one, which is, we are talking about disease, and I just finished about a particular disease known as malaria. Now, general prevention and control of what? Diseases. Not only how to prevent malaria, but every other diseases. We have the first point there, which is inoculation. And what is inoculation? Inoculation is the introduction into the body of a partially killed or seriously weakened organism. This causes the white blood cell of the individual to form antibodies against the disease. Sort of immunity. You immunize yourself. When these objects, or when these vaccines are being inoculated, it helps to boost the white blood cell. It helps to boost the body. Then the white blood cell will now be able to fight against the diseases. We have so many vaccines which we immunize ourselves. Like we have diphtheria for children, even polio. We have immunization for whooping cough, tuberculosis, and so on and so forth. Then we have the second point there, use of prophylactics. Use of prophylactics, which involves use of preventive drugs to protect the body against the attack of particular disease. Prophylactic kills the causative organism before they can cause illness. We have example of these prophylactics like Laridos. Laridos is a preventive measure towards malaria, not curative. Like curative, you may have Nivaquine if Nivaquine is still being taken, but preventive is Laridos. By taking Laridos, it now kills that plasmodium before it causes the malaria. Now we have the next point, which is eating of balanced diet. When you feed fine, your body will be balanced and you can withstand any kind of disease condition. Before you will be pulled down by any disease condition, the body must have fought them. Now we have the next one, personal hygiene. Personal hygiene about the body, which may include regular washing of hands, like what is in vogue now. When you wash your hand regularly, you'll be free from COVID. Then use of sanitizer and maintaining social distance. These are all personal hygiene. We have the next one, covering cooked food to prevent flies. When you after cooking your food and you leave it open, definitely you see house flies. After house fly perching on faces, maybe from somebody suffering from cholera, the same house fly will come and perch on your food. After that, you eat the food. What do you expect? You start having running stomach, like the person whose feces the fly had visited. So there's need for us to cover our foods after cooking and before eating. Next one, regular cleaning of homes and surroundings prevents organisms from thriving. When you keep your environment clean, definitely the organisms will not find it easy to survive there, because all these organisms thrive very well in dirty environments. If you don't have stagnant water in gutters, in cans, definitely you can have mosquito larvae developing there. Now we have the next one, which is good ventilation, which blows out or away infected air and harmful organisms. You must stay in airy places. Have good ventilated environment. Open up your rooms. Let in fresh air. Let in some amount of sunlight into your rooms and into your compound. It helps. It is a preventive and control measure towards disease conditions. Then we have the next one. Cook your food properly, and that kills bacteria. Like some of us buy intestine of cow from the market, and right in that intestine of cows, they used to be warm. If you don't cook the intestine very well and you eat it, definitely that worm must infect you. So proper cooking of food can prevent us from being from contracting any disease condition. Now we have the next one. Proper treatment of drinking water through chlorination or boiling of water. You take care of the kind of water you drink. You don't just drink anyhow water. Not all the pure water they say that is pure is pure. So you don't just buy any kind of pure water and drink. You have to be sure. If you're not sure of the water you're drinking, you start boiling your water at home. Then you'll be sure of that before you drink. After boiling it, it cools and you drink your water. Now, or you treat it with chlorine. Now we have the next one, which is sterilization of syringes and hospital equipment. Definitely, doctors need to be very, very careful about that. Before they use their equipment in operation, and not just operation, most of the equipment used in hospitals are being sterilized. You see them boiling it in a stainless big pot. They boil them for at 100 degrees centigrade and even above. After boiling, they will now leave them to cool before they now use those equipment on patients. Now we have the next one, addition of antiseptics to bath, to our bathing water, and the disinfectant to the water we use in cleaning our houses and the environment. You use antiseptics. We have antiseptic soaps, and we have disinfectants like Izals and others. You use them. They help against what disease conditions, both in body and in environment. Then we have the very last one, which is what? Isolation and treatment of infected individuals. You isolate, just like what is happening now. When you come in from outside the country, they have just to isolate you for 2 weeks to find out whether you have COVID or not, after which they will not allow you. So if the person is now discovered to have that COVID or have any disease, the person will be treated. So isolation and treatment of infected individual is among the what? A general prevention and control of diseases. We've come to the end of the lesson. I have to evaluate you with this following question on the screen. You answer them and post to my WhatsApp contact. I'm expecting your reply. I commend some students that actually take this lesson online very seriously. Thank you.